Welcome back, YouTube. This is Rich with an exclusive YouTube video blog. This YouTube video blog will be about my top 16 favorite TV male news anchors of all time. And this list will be basically almost Boston TV eccentric with one exception, who's this person beyond who's ranked on this list. But first, these very important messages of your interest. Don't forget, YouTube followers, to like Crystal's Time Machine YouTube channel under Crystal Johnson and follow her on various social media websites, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen to Crystal's Time Machine on WCAP 980, where everybody gets it, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. each and every Friday and Saturday night. And if you can't catch the show live, listen to podcasts exclusively on archive.org. And say hello to the official sponsor of Crystal's Time Machine, Broadway Pizza. And if you make an online if you call up on the phone or face to face and mention Crystal's Time Machine, you get a $2 discount. So that's pretty good, especially in these times where prices seem to go up daily. Okay? Now back to my feature presentation. Okay, several weeks ago I did a top 16 favorites of TV male and female meteorologists, and with this trade I'm going to be doing for news anchors and sports reporters and anchors for both male and female. That's a future one just down the road. I'm going to do my top 16 favorite TV male news anchors of all time. Honorable mentions on this list who didn't make the cut is longtime former WCVB morning news anchor on the Eye Opener, Jim Boyd, who was there for many, many years. Also, another one who didn't make the list is the late Tom Ellis, who worked for several Boston TV stations, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, also and ECN, and he also did some news anchor in New York. He did a news magazine weekly called Newsworthy, and I didn't include national TV news anchors on this list. So no Dan Rather, no Peter Jennings, no Tom Brokaw, no Brian Williams, no Lester Hoyt on this list. And here is the top 16 of my favorite TV male news anchors of all time. Number 16 on this list is Scott Wally, who was an anchor for WBZ TV in Boston. He was the morning news anchor for about approximately 15 years. He actually, before that, was a sports reporter anchor for WBZ, and actually he worked in Maine for a while. He was very, very underrated as a news anchor, in my humble opinion. And he actually left television news in the spring of 2008 when he got laid off by WBZ, and I think he became an actor in some stage plays throughout New England. I think he might still do that. Number 15 on this list is Frank Malico, who worked in Boston for many years on the old WLVI TV 56, which is CW 56 now, and also Fox 25 as a news anchor. He's another one that originally did sports for many years, and he got converted. He switched over to being a news anchor. It seems like in the Boston television market, many anchors for the men's sports anchors eventually transitioned to being news anchors, and he did pretty good at it. He left the Boston television market, I think, about 10 years ago, and he's currently in San Francisco, the Bay Area, and he worked for the Fox affiliate there and the CBS affiliate there. I think he still works for CBS, owned and operated, KPIX. Number 14 on this list is Jeff Bond, who was the lead male news anchor for WLVI TV 56 for many years. Sorry about that. For many years in the 1990s and early 2000s. And he was, very, very good. But he eventually left WLVI and he went to other cities. There was a story that he was let go by WLVI TV 56 that he was not, they said that he was not really serious doing the news. He kind of had a little bit of a humorous version of the news when he did WLVI TV 56, but I couldn't see that. But sometimes that happens. He now works for local access television in Arlington, Massachusetts. Number 13 on this list is Mark Ockleboom, who is the lead male news anchor for WFXT Channel 25 in Boston, or Boston 25, what they call it now. He's another one that transitioned from being a sports anchor to a news anchor. He originally started in Boston on NECN, and he became a sports anchor in the weekends for Boston 25 after the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004. A few years later, he became the lead male anchor on the news for Boston 25, and he's still doing it, and he's pretty good at it. Number 12 on this list is the only anchor who is not from Boston. It's Matt Austin, who is the lead male news anchor for News 6 in Orlando, Florida, for the weekday news, and he's very, very talented. He does the Florida Fifth Estate podcast and co-host that with Ginger Gastain, and he's really, really good. He's at number 12. Number 11 on this list is former WCVB weekend news anchor, and he did 5 p.m. news for WCVB when they started 5 p.m. news in 1994. Brian Leary, another one. I think he was one of the first male news anchors who transitioned from sports. In fact, before he came to Boston, he actually worked some national games for NBC Sports. When they had NCAA basketball, he actually filled in for Marv Albert for one game when Marv couldn't make it because he had commitments to the New York Knicks. And Brian left television news in about 2000 to start private business. Don't know what happened to him. And if he stuck around, he could have been like the lead male anchor on WCVB Channel 5 in Boston. You never know. Number 10 on this list is John Henning, who was a longtime news anchor for WHDH, WHGH, CVB Channel 5 in Boston, and WANC Channel 7, and WBZ TV4 in Boston. And he worked for all three Boston television stations. He eventually became a political analyst before retiring. He passed away many, many years ago. Interesting fact about John: his brother Dan was a former NFL coach for the Chargers, and he also coached BC football. Number 9 on this list is Jack Hines, who worked in Boston television for over 50 years, from the 1950s through the mid-2000s, first at WBZ and then at the old WHGH Channel 5 in Boston, and 1972 WCVB Channel 5 in Boston. In 1984, he left WCVB to start a newscast on WLVI TV 56, the news at 10, and he was with WLVI News until it ended in December of 2006, which he retired from Boston television. Like in 2002, he became kind of a commentator on certain events. And he said something at the last broadcast of WLVI TV 56 that WLVI should have been bought by local ownership, and they could have kept the station. And he said somebody should have, could have, would have stepped up to the plate and bought the station local, but there was basically maybe no offers locally to buy WLVI TV 56, and it was sold to Sunbeam, which owned WHGH Channel 7 Boston. Sorry about that, I just having a little cough. Number 8 on this list is Adam Williams, who is the lead male anchor for WHGH Channel 7 Boston, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 and 11 p.m. newscasts. He and Kim Casey co-anchor, and he's been with WHGH since the late 2000s, first as a morning news anchor. He's probably one of the best news anchors WHGH has ever had. Number 7 on this list is Ed Harding, who was the lead male anchor for WCVB Channel 5 in Boston. He worked for many years before becoming a news anchor in the mornings as a sports anchor reporter. He was number 3 on WCVB Sports Department behind Mike Lynch and Mike Downing, and he transitioned to news anchoring around 1999, and he's been doing it ever since. He's very, very good at it. He's like probably one of the best ones who transitioned from news to sports. Another one, number 6 on this list, is Gene Levanchi, who's the Boston 25 morning lead male news anchor. He's been with Boston 25 since they started a morning newscast back in 2003. Before, he was sports director at WHGH Channel 7 Boston for about 10 years. He actually hosted the Bruins intermission host for the late 80s and early 90s. He was also a sports anchor for WLNE in Providence, New Bedford for a few years before getting WHGH Channel 7 Boston. Number 5 on this list is Randy Price, who worked in Boston television for close to 40 years, first at WBZ as the morning news anchor, and then he switched over in 1995 to WHGH TV as the morning news anchor. Eventually, he replaced R.D. So as the lead news anchor for WHGH Channel 7 Boston, and he did that into 2009, and then he left WHDH, and he spent the last 11 years of his television career as the morning news anchor for WCVB Channel 5 in Boston. He's now retired to South Carolina. Number 4 on this list is David Way, who's currently the lead male news anchor for WBZ. Sorry about that, for WBZ TV4 in Boston. He's been working for WBZ since 2007 when he started as the morning news anchor. And before that, he worked the weekend news anchor on Boston 25. He was once married to former Boston 25 and WCVB morning news anchor Bianca Della Garza, who left the television business years ago. Both of them divorced, like David remarried, and hey, he's still very still going strong, David Wade, in television. Number 3 on this list is Adi Saul, who worked for WHCH Channel 7 Boston for many years. Then he went to NECN for many more years until retiring, I think in the early 2010s. He became a professor of communications at Boston University. Number 2 on this list is Chet Curtis, who worked for the old WHCH Channel 5 in Boston. Then he became the news anchor at WCVB in 1972, 28 years. He was with WCVB. He married co-anchor Natalie Jacobson. In the mid-1970s, they had one child together, a daughter named Lindsay. They had a very public divorce in 2000, and Chet left WCVB to work for NECN, eventually becoming hosting a public affairs show. He retired in 2011 after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he passed away in 2014. And number 1 on this list of my favorite TV male news anchor ever is Jack Williams, who worked for WBZ TV4 in Boston for close to 40 years. He originally came from Spokane, Washington, and Jack was the top news anchor for WBZ TV in the evenings for most of his career. Several times in the 1990s and 2000s, they were about to get rid of Jack completely because they thought he was too old. But every one of his replacements flopped big time, and he returned to being the lead male anchor during those times. He retired in 2015. And that's about it on that. Hopefully you enjoyed these videos. Leave a comment and comment in the comment section. Thank you for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.